Hey Dance Fam, I'm Krista Jennings checking in from the Movement Studios. What I'm putting together today is our audition video of frequently asked questions. So this is for anyone who's looking for more information about TeaMS. Maybe you're a current student at the Movement Studios thinking about auditioning, or maybe you're dancing somewhere else or moving here from out of town. So we just want to put together a video to answer all of your questions because we know we do things differently than a lot of other studios, so want to make sure we head off any questions with this video with a lot of important information. So quick background on the Movement Studios. We are going into our 5th year here, which is just bananas. Our philosophy is that we're trying to build the everyday dancer into an artist. So we want to train dancers who are bookable, who are going to school for dance, who want dance to be a part of their future past graduating from high school. So with that being said, we do also offer a recreational program, but our competitive program is a little bit more geared towards the people who want that next step out of their movement. We really try to provide stepping stones for the next level to become a professional dancer, become a choreographer, teacher, whatever your goal is. We provide these stepping stones through master classes, we attend conventions, we have report card and progress meetings with our dancers, we have an apprentice program, and we're always working on audition skills through audition prep classes throughout the year. So we try to set ourselves a little bit apart from the other studios in that way, that we're trying to give you the actual skills to succeed, not just teaching you dance technique. A little bit more about our teams. Our teams are open for dancers 7 to 18. They have to be 7 at the time of the audition. As far as numbers go, this year we have about 40 members, but we really have no number in mind for the future, just whoever we think is a good fit. We really like to think of quality over quantity, so we don't need a mega team. We're not really interested in a mega huge team. We want more kids who are really easy to work with, kids who have a strong work ethic, and kids we really think we can help mold to be the next level. We have 2 companies. We have our industry company and our movement company. They are different in that industry competes at the elite level and movement competes in the intermediate level. Industry also attends 5 competitions and conventions, where movement attends less. This year our plan was to go to 3, and then we all attended a convention together. Our requirements are different for each company. Movement company needs to take 1 ballet class, 1 strength and stretch, a jazz class, a contemporary class. If you are interested in competing either tap or hip hop, you have to take those corresponding classes, but those are optional. And then a strength and stretch, and then our weekly block I'll talk about a little bit later. Industry company needs to take all of those classes, plus a 2nd ballet class, plus hip hop is required for industry company. So those are the difference in requirements. We have 2 companies, but we don't really have set teams within those companies. So we really like to do things differently. So if you're on movement company, you might be in, say, 4 different dances, and every dance you're in might be a different combination of people. So where a lot of studios do, like these are the petites and these are the juniors and whatever, and you dance with the same people, we try to mix it up. We think it's really great, and different dancers get to push each other. In some dances, you might be the youngest dancer really getting pushed by those older dancers, and in some dances, you might be the oldest dancer who we need to use for like more of a leadership role for other dancers to look up to. We think this works really well. It makes our dances really different. Every time you come on stage, it's a different feel, it's a different energy, and we've done really well with it. And we like the way that it, I think, builds a bigger team camaraderie, and you're more representing your studio, not your individual team. That's the goal. We are also different because we do absolutely no competition choreography in class. All of our competition choreography is set on our weekends. So they are either rehearsing Saturdays or Sundays, some weekends both, and they also are rehearsing on Wednesday nights during our block time. That's typically been 7 to 9. It'll probably be the same in the future. Our summer session requirements are a little bit different. Our summer session starts July 6th. It runs through August 6th. So those are 5 weeks. That's different from before. In the past, we've required a 6-week session. This year, our session is going to be 5 weeks. We do ask that families kind of schedule your vacations around then, because you do have so much time off at the beginning and the end of the summer. We would love for you to take those vacations there when we're not offering classes at the studio. This year, what's different is we're also requiring the intensive. So the intensive will take place August 10th through 14th. So that would be like the 6 week of class is now the intensive. So the intensive will be in the evening. It'll run 4:30 to 9, and we're going to work hard to bookend both ends of the intensive because it is required with choreography. So like the weekend before, we'll have a lot of choreography. The weekend after, we'll have a lot of choreography, potentially using guests who are in town for the intensive. So it's really important that all of our dancers are there for the intensive and the 5-week session over the summer. Other things about our company is we put on a preview every February. Actually, this year it's January. We're starting it earlier. So our preview is our like big performance where we get to showcase all of our competition routines. So that is kind of the dress rehearsal before you get on stage for competition. It's on like a professional stage. It's professionally lit. It's just like a giant show to showcase what we've been working on. Everyone wears their costumes. We have a full audience, and then we have 3 of our colleagues in the area come and judge it, and the dancers receive feedback. So it's like a pre-competition, so we can sort some stuff out before competition, and then that way the first time they go to competition, we have the kinks worked out, a lot of formations, timing stuff. So that's something different we do. We also participate in community events. We do a lot of community performances, and that's a really great way to give back to the community. Okay, so this next section is our rehearsal section. So this is going to explain a little bit more about what I mentioned about all of those weekend rehearsals that we work on. So on Saturdays, we rehearse 12 to 6, and that's mostly devoted to younger dancers and movement company dancers. And Sundays, we rehearse 1 to 7, and that's mostly devoted to older dancers and our industry dancers. These rehearsals are the time to learn choreography, the time to clean choreography, and the time to perfect choreography. So those are our weekend rehearsals. The parents and dancers set the maximum number of dances that you'd like to do. So when you come into audition, as a part of your contract, it'll say how many dances is your maximum. Just so you know, everyone's minimum is 3. Everyone will be placed in 3 dances at least. But then we look at your maximum and we really try to make sure we don't go above that, because your maximum does affect how many hours you're at the studio over the summer and especially the fall on weekends. And it also affects your registration fees. So if you say, sure, I can be in 12 dances, you're going to be looking at really high competition fees as opposed to 3 or 4. But it's up to every family, and we really try to respect that. Our rehearsals are going to start July 18th through 19th. So that's important to know that our auditions are on a Saturday, and then rehearsals are going to start on the weekend the following Saturday, with actually some rehearsals coming in the middle there on Wednesday. Our block rehearsal is the time for kind of maintenance. So that's the time where, say we've only had one rehearsal for like movement junior small contemporary. So we just had our audition. That's our first rehearsal, say. After we learned some, we would go in that Wednesday and have probably 20 to 30 minutes to talk through what we learned, cleaning notes. It's the time to kind of just maintain what we have already learned. So next rehearsal, we're not having to go backwards. It shouldn't be the time for learning choreography. It should just be the time for like little tweaks and basically just running it a lot and getting the repetition in your body. So even though block runs 7 to 9, dancers are dismissed when they're finished dancing. So we make a schedule and we try to start with our younger dancers and then go more towards the older dancers. And so most dancers are not dancing till 9. Some dance till 9. Of course, we have to have some people, but you are dismissed when you're finished. For rehearsals for the weekends, you can only miss 1 rehearsal per dance. So again, most pieces, so let's go back to that example. The movement junior small contemporary will probably rehearse on the weekend 4 3-hour sections. So we normally do 2 to 3 to learn the choreography and then 1 to 2 to clean the choreography. So if you miss one out of those, that's going to put you pretty far behind. So we don't allow you to miss any more than one of those. All of our rehearsals are posted on our app we have. We have a team app, which you will learn in your contract and once you make the company. We also post all of our rehearsals on our company bulletin board, which is down the hall here. And I send out the weekly schedule in my Monday emails. So if you're on company, every single week on Monday, I send out an email with like what's going on this week. And they will also be posted there. It's really important for you guys to let us know any conflicts you have before they're a conflict. So when you turn in that contract to us at auditions, it'll say, what are your conflicts? That's ideally the time you tell us all of your conflicts that you know for weekend rehearsals. The time to tell us is not in that Monday email where it says, and don't forget, Movement Junior Small Contemporary is rehearsing Saturday from 12 to 3. That's now set in stone with the choreographer. That's been confirmed, and that's been on everyone else's schedule. So that's not the time to let me know you cannot make it. The time to let me know is up front, and then ideally I schedule around you. So if you let me know, I can try to work with you. And in that email too, I will write anyone who I know is missing. So if my daughter Aubrey is missing from the Junior Small Contemporary, that rehearsal would look like 12 to 3, Movement Junior Small Contemporary, no Aubrey. So if your name is not on there, I don't know about your absence, and it's unacceptable at that point. Dancers are responsible for learning any choreography that they've missed. So say Aubrey, again, is in that dance. She misses that Saturday rehearsals. We take videos of the rehearsal. So we'll typically do 2 videos, a run through and a breakdown, which breaks it down super slowly without the music. Then we post on YouTube, which can all be found in Team App. Aubrey then needs to make sure she learns that choreography before the next block that it's being run. If she shows up to block rehearsal and I press play and she has no idea what she's doing, then I'm not going to allow her to be in that section of choreography because we can't go backwards during block and she's not showing the initiative. It sounds kind of harsh, but this is the real world. And again, we're trying to prepare dancers for the next level. And at the next level, you can't show up to a company being unprepared. Well, in a company, you cannot miss any rehearsals, but we're really trying to hold the dancers accountable for if they have to miss being responsible for learning that choreography. So this next section, we're going to talk a little bit about our competitions and conventions that we attend. For those of you who haven't attended a convention before, it's kind of just like a traveling masterclass. You're going to take from a lot of different choreographers who maybe haven't taken from before and a lot of different styles. The dancers typically take class from about 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Saturday and the same on Sunday. They're a really great opportunity to network with different choreographers, with different dancers in the area. It's a little bit more personal than a competition. They're a great opportunity to audition. We talk to the dancers about this all the time. Anytime you're auditioning, you're getting better at auditioning. So even if you have the worst audition of your life, you walk out of that audition learning something you didn't know before. Maybe it was like, I didn't get seen, or how can I pick up choreography quickly? So it's really great that they have auditions and you can win scholarships from them, which is like cherry on the top. We try to stay pretty local, but conventions, we do have to travel a little bit for them. They don't come right to Woodbridge, Fairfax. So we travel anywhere. We've gone as far north as Baltimore and as far south as Norfolk. So it's pretty reasonable, like no more than 2.5 hours. But we do have to travel a little bit more from them. And they are a bigger financial commitment because you are looking at a hotel stay also. It's also especially important to note that those competitions start about like 8 a.m. on Friday because there's so many classes and so many hours where you can't be competing. You're only looking at competition like all day Friday and then Saturday after classes. So it is something that you'll have to think of too, where your dancer might miss school. I know they're not bummed about that, but you might need to take off from work. It's a different kind of commitment there. But again, we think the dancers get a ton out of it. They learn so much. They have the opportunity to train with different people, which we think is super important. Um, and then our competitions, we stay very local. We pretty much have only gone to Woodbridge, Prince William high schools. You could compete there at a Woodbridge high school pretty much any weekend from mid-January till May. So we just figure, why travel when you can stay 15 minutes away and not have to go to a hotel and not worry about the gas and all that. Those schedules are all different from competition to competition, and I try to send them out as quickly as I can. But again, industry is looking at 5 events, so normally 3 of them are conventions, and movement is looking at 4 events, usually one of those is a convention. So the next section is a little bit about solo duo trios. So we do this different than a lot of studios. Not everyone who requests a solo will get a solo. There's a few reasons for this. One, we really want to make sure every time the dancers are on stage, it's a positive experience. And we don't want to set up a dancer to have a not positive experience on stage. Because although solos can be amazing, they can also be like very stressful. And I've seen it like end kids' dance careers because they are so stressed about competing as solo. So we want to make sure they're really ready, feel confident, and really that they'll do a great job with their solo. Another thing that's different about ours is we only allow each dancer to do one solo and perhaps one duet trio. You cannot do multiple of either of them. Again, we're looking at quality over quantity. That's for the dancer and also for the choreographers. You don't want to see your choreographers stretch so thin, choreographing like 50 solos each, and then everything starts to look the same. And for our soloists, we don't want them stretched so thin on those competition weekends where they're so busy and they can't focus on any of their dances because they're running around getting all their solos done. And also because we do require a certain amount of rehearsals in the studio with your solos, we want that to be really focused in one style on one solo versus kind of like all over the place. When you put in your request with your contract, you are just requesting to do a solo and do a duo trio. You're not requesting styles, you're not requesting choreographers. That's up to the directors and the choreographers to make those choices, and really we know best. Also note that we are very choosy on who we put together in duet trios. We don't think it should just be like, this is my best friend, so we should dance together. Maybe you guys can dance together in a large group, but if you don't work together, like stylistically or where your strengths are or body types, we probably aren't going to do that. And that might mean that you're a great dancer, but you don't have a duet trio this year. That doesn't mean you're not doing a fantastic job. That just means like, who do we put her with? Who does she work with, right? So we want to wait to do that duo trio experience until it's a great fit with other dancers and with the choreographer also. So if you request a solo or duo trio, you'll receive an email either way. If you are chosen to do one, you'll receive an email from the choreographer. So say I was selected to do your solo, you get an email from me talking about my rates, how I'm paid, how I would like you to schedule and move forward with it. If you aren't selected, we notify you that you were not selected, and we try to give you some information about why and what you can do differently. So maybe next year we're looking at a solo or duo trio for you. A solo is a big financial commitment. That's another reason we like to limit them. We would rather you be spending that money on classes or another convention or going to take classes somewhere else and getting some extra teaching in rather than doing 3 solos. So with the solos and duo trios, you're going to pay a one-time $150 rental rate. So that covers your use of the studio, like having the lights on, having the AC going, having someone at the front desk while you're here. And that's for the year. So if you're a soloist, you're paying that whole $150 yourself. If it's a duet trio, you're splitting that amongst your partners. So $75 for a duet each, $50 for a trio each. We think that's really reasonable. But again, that's for the whole year. So if you decide to do the bare minimum and rehearse as little as possible, you're not getting the most out of your money as opposed to rehearsing as much as possible and really getting that solo really well rehearsed and getting the most out of that rental fee. You're also looking at, for a solo, about 110 every time you compete. For a duet trio, I'd say it's more like 40 to 60 every time you compete, depending on the competitions. You're also looking at the private rates, as I mentioned. All of our teachers are paid directly. None of that goes through the studio. So every time you rehearse with a teacher, you're looking at paying that teacher directly. And for a requirement with that, you must run your solos at least 2 times a month. One of those times must be with the choreographer, and one of the other times could be by yourself. We have a whole way of reserving space for those that we'll talk to more if you make the team at our parents' meeting about how to reserve studios. And for a duet trio, we do require that you rehearse once a month with your choreographer, and then those will also be rehearsed during block. Whew, almost done. Okay, this next section is bottom line. We're talking about the cost here. So if you're on our competition team, you're looking at paying your monthly tuition. That depends on how many hours you're taking in classes. Our rates are on the website. You hit a max when you get to 450. So 450, I believe, is 8 hours or more. You're going to be paying a flat 450 a month minus block fee. So most of our company dancers, I would say, do take advantage of that because you pay less per class. You get to take more styles for that flat fee. But it ranges. If you want to take the bare minimum, I think it's more about like $280 a month for tuition. And then it's not included in those tuition fees are our block fees. So our block fees cover your 2 hour a week Wednesday rehearsals. So that's 7 to 9 every Wednesday that you're going to be rehearsing. It also covers all of our Saturday, Sunday rehearsals. So you're paying the same rate every month. It's kind of, you're not really paying for, like, 1 month you might have 9 rehearsals and 1 month you might have 0 rehearsals. So our block fee is just splitting up like your year of company dues for rehearsals over those 10 installments. So you're looking for your block fee at $85 a month. And again, that is covering all of those rehearsals, all of those extra times devoted to just the competition stuff. Again, the rental fee I mentioned, if you're in a solo to a trio, it's $150 for a routine. So split amongst duet trios or just one person for the solo. And then you're looking at the rates you're paying the choreographers directly for both of those solos and duet trios. You're looking at competition fees too. I'd say the average is a solo is about 110, a duet trios anywhere from 40 to 60, and then a group I'd say on average is about 45. So I like to send all of that information out with as much notice as I can before billing so you have an idea of what's coming. But you can also do kind of the rough math when you're deciding on your family's max. Convention fees also, so for those conventions I mentioned, I'd say on average they're about $250 a convention for those class fees. So again, if you're on industry, you're going to pay that 3 times if you don't have any scholarships, and if you're on movement, you're going to pay that once. Also, costume costs. So for our competition team, we do our costumes at cost, which is really different from a lot of studios. So that means that if I am ordering a costume from a costume catalog for you, say a jazz dance, and it costs $65, then I'm charging you $70 because I'm charging you the $65 plus the credit card fee plus shipping, and that's all I'm charging you. And then we also do a lot of costumes that are not from catalogs. We do a lot of like, oh, here's a cute romper from Forever 21. We're going to use that for a costume. So we've had group dances where you're seriously looking at like $25 for a costume. Some of our pieces, they do get a little bit higher. I think this year the highest one we had was about $150 for like a 3-piece suit situation. But we try to be very reasonable with our costumes, and we get a ton of compliments on them. We don't lose any points on costumes just because they don't have bling bling ABs all over them. It's totally fine. So again, that's going to depend on the dance and how many dances you're in. Our competition fees are charged on the 15th of each month. So your tuition and your block will come out on the 1st. Your competition fees come out on the 15th. And we start that in August. So August 15th would be like your first installment. Normally that's costumes. Then September might be your first competition, October 2nd, November 3rd, December 4th, and normally we have to go through January would be your last competition. This year, with the addition of the intensive, that's going to be charged on July 15th for company dancers. So they'll actually start those 15th billings in July this year, but we try to split it up so you're not getting hit like crazy everything on the 1st. Section is just like a wrap up, a little bit more about our actual audition, so you guys have that information. Our audition this year is on July 11th. It's really important for you to know we're having one audition. We're not having another audition. If you are not there at July 11th and you haven't sent us a video, you won't be considered for the team. So please do take that date really seriously. We will accept auditions up until that date, but it's really important. If you can be there for the audition, we would much rather see you in person than in a video audition. Video auditions are hard because you're not doing our style, our choreography, and if we're not sure about you, we can't pull you next to different dancers. So we always err on the side of caution with videos auditions. So if you can be there, that's much preferred. The audition will be 1 to 5. Back to that virtual audition. If you do need to do that, you can contact Nicole. Her email's on our website. She sets up all of the virtual auditions. You will do contemporary jazz and hip hop, and we'll ask you to see a few tap steps if you're new to tap, but that's about it. We do want to treat all of our auditions like a serious auditions. We want dancers to wear something that makes them stand out, that's really flattering on them, and is versatile for all styles. We want dancers to come with their hair pulled back like slick, some kind of way that flatters their face, not like a messy bun that you're going to take up and down a million times. We want dancers to have light makeup so they look their best, and we are going to be taking photos of the dancers, so know that you should be photo ready with your face. You could prepare for the audition by stretching at home, taking as many classes as you can, especially classes where you're going to be picking up choreography quickly. That's one of the things we're looking for. How teachable are you? How quick can you pick up choreography? Our dancers re-audition each year. There's no guarantee that you'll make the team again. And again, every year we really want to look at your growth from year to year. We'll also look at how you've been in classes if you're a returning student, how you were on stage if you're a returning student as well. We really encourage new dancers to schedule a trial class before the end of May for placement in levels. Because we are starting classes before our audition, we want you to be in classes before you're auditioning. It's a little tricky right now because of what's going on with the coronavirus. So since we're physically closed and working on virtual classes, if you want to contact me, we'd be happy to have you take a virtual class so you can kind of get a feel for us in the studio and other kids, and we can do a level placement for you for summer classes. Sign-in for audition starts at 12:30, and we'll be starting promptly at 1. That means like choreography starting at 1, so you should not be walking in the door at 1 o'clock. If you're coming to audition, we're assuming that you are going to want to be on our team. Please don't come to audition if you're not sure if this is for you, because we're going to place you and it's going to make a big difference in teams. Like if you come to audition and you then decide that you're not going to compete this year, that really affects us. So we might have put you in a large group with only 10 people, and then you decide you're not doing it, and then it becomes 9 people, and that really affects everybody else. And then maybe we have 2 contemporaries competing against each other where we would have had them in separate categories before. You also really need to treat it like you're definitely moving forward with us, because we have auditions on Saturday and we'll start rehearsals and block on Wednesday. So that's not a lot of time to be refiguring things out. The week before our audition, we're offering a free prep class. So that will be July 8th from 7 to 8:45. You can come in, that's during our normal block time, and we'll be teaching audition combos. Mock auditions, giving you some tips to audition. So that's the Wednesday before auditions. It's a great way to like get ready, get mentally prepared, and in the zone for auditioning. If you know you're auditioning, please pre-register for auditions. All that information is on our website. That's the best way that we can guarantee that we'll move quickly through the line and get everyone's information quickly the day of auditions. You don't need to pay anything. Auditions are free. It's just so we have that information for you so you don't have to do it when you come here. I think that's it. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. I know this is like a ton of information, and for most people coming from other studios, it's really different from how they've done it. So it takes people a second to wrap their head around it. We're not expecting you to understand 100% how our team works from this. We're just trying to make a general video of all these questions so I don't have to keep saying them on the phone to you guys. I'm happy to explain further, but just trying to avoid having the same conversation lots and lots of times. We're so excited to have another team, 5th year, so exciting. And we've been doing amazing things here, and we can't wait to have you be a part of it. Thanks.